So I'll call council to order, and I'm going to read tonight, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge our meeting place, the city of Flin Flon Council Chambers, is situated on the ancestral lands of the Treaty 5 territory. We'd like to acknowledge that we also work in partnership with First Nations in Treaty 6 and 10 territories and the Red River Métis Nation. After that, I will have Councillor Eagle.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is Resolution 25-43, reading and confirming minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held March 4th, 2025 be adopted as received.
I need a seconder, Councillor Hanson. All in favor? Good. Takes us to the check schedule, which is Councillor Dallas Funk.
Thanks. Check schedule 25-44. Be it resolved that the checks in the amount of $1,813,189.14 be approved for payment. And just as a reminder, I haven't said it very much, the check schedule is online, so anybody can go online and check it out to see what that $1.8 million is all about.
Seconder, Councillor Eagle. All in favor? Here we go. Resolution, Councillor Slip.
Yes. Flin Flon Minor Hockey, 25-45. Be it resolved that the application for a municipal funding grant in the amount of $270 for Flin Flon Minor Hockey Association be approved.
Seconder, Councillor Dallas Funk. All in favor? There it goes. Councillor Litwin.
I have one resolution, Your Worship, Resolution 25-46. Be it resolved that a municipal funding grant in the amount of $1,000 for the Northern Druid Art Show be approved.
I need a seconder, Councillor Hanson. All in favor? Okay, look. I'm going to just try and ignore what's going on in my head right now. Did you hear that?
Yeah, we can.
Why is it?
Which means they
It's
can.
not supposed to be. How do I stop it?
In my head.
I thought it was supposed to be in my ears, and it was out loud. I should have shut it
your
off.
hearing aids.
Yeah, usually just goes in there. Okay, sorry. So we are at 4.3, which is Councillor Hanson.
Yes, be it resolved that the animal control report for January 2025 be approved.
Seconder, Councillor Litwin. All in favor? Councillor Slip.
Very similar to Councillor Hanson, but this is Resolution 25-50. Be it resolved that the animal control report for February 2025 be approved.
Seconder, Councillor Hanson. All in favor? Good. And the tax is Councillor Dallas Funk.
Tax service, tax Irvis, 25-51. Be it resolved that the pursuant to bylaw number 2019-05 of the City of Flin Flon, that Tax Irvis Inc. be appointed to manage property tax arrears recovery for the City of Flin Flon. Be it further resolved that the pursuant to bylaw number 2019-05 of the City of Flin Flon, that the following individuals be approved for tax sale managers for the City of Flin Flon: Donna Zinke, Vice President of Tax Irvis Inc., or Tyler Burnside, Associate of Tax Irvis Inc.
Seconder, Councillor Slip. I'm looking that way this time. All in favor? All right. And Councillor Eagle.
Yes, thank you. This is Resolution number 25-52, council meeting schedule. Be it resolved that the regular meeting of council on April 15th, 2025 be moved to April 22nd, 2025.
Seconder, Councillor Hanson. All in favor? Okay. And any comments before I move to adjournment?
Just want to congratulate the Flin Flon Bombers for finishing second in the SJHL and heading into playoffs.
Nice.
Friday night at the Whitney and Saturday night at the Whitney against the Battleford North Stars.
So the neat thing is, they finished first usually, and then they end up second in the playoffs. So now, if they ended up second, they should end up first when this whole thing's over.
I hope so. It's going to be a tough road, but
Yeah.
they have the team.
Well, it's their
I
turn.
like this plan.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it works.
It makes sense to me, though. Good? Okay, adjourned.
Move we adjourn?
Question?
Yeah, and for Councilor Slip, it's Humboldt, not Ballard.
Oh, you're right, sorry.
Because I just put to bed the playoff section. this
No,
morning,
I
and
had it that I wanted Battleford.
Well, I originally, I'd written one of the pieces for the playoff edition and finished it up before that was determined, so I had to take that out this morning. Damn it, I gave myself a heart attack. But anyway, so first of all, I wanted to ask a couple questions about something that came up at the previous meeting because I wasn't here, but I saw that there was a measure that came up here for a deal with, I believe, Beach Electric for providing lights at a couple of local parks. Just wanted to know a little bit about the thought process that gone into that, when that will be done by, and what's sort of the aim that council has with that project.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, well, first of all, there's a huge portion that is going to be led on Main Street. That's also part of the conversation with the beach. The park that we're looking at is Rotary Park, and we will be putting in just not a lot, but we will be increasing the lighting for Rotary Park.
Okay, so what are we looking at then for Rotary Park? Are we talking, we're not talking like big, like exercise yard floodlights or something like that for this, right? Like what are we looking at?
We're looking at streetlights.
Okay, okay.
Same as ones are going on Main Street, right, Lynn?
Yeah.
Or are they?
I think that the head that is going to be a little bit different, yeah, because of the height and also because of the cost for
Yeah.
the ones on Main Street.
So all the Main Street lights will be the same, and then the lights in front of City Hall, Eric, will be the same as Main Street. And the lights in front of City Hall will go behind in our parking lot, because we need lights there, so we're gonna refurbish and put there. And then lighting also at Rotary Park. It's been passed, they've been ordered, so as soon as they get here, Beach Electric will start the job, working as early as spring.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, is there an estimated cost for what the city's looking at for this?
about $250,000 to $60,000.
Okay. Okay, $250,000 to $60,000?
$250,000 to $260,000.
Okay, all right, that's it. That was a bit of an odd mix. It's like, hold on a second. I'm not great with numbers, but no.
I'm apparently not great with talking.
No, that's all right, same here. So the reason for the project, is it a safety thing? Is it an ease of use thing so people can use the park or use Main Street more accurately at night? Like, what are we looking at?
Cheaper.
Cheaper.
It's
Way
safer,
cheaper.
yeah, safer and going to LED lights, so.
It's
Cost savings.
I'll say this is my third set of lights we bought for Main Street. And the lights that we took off Main Street last time, George, I believe you were part of that, went down to the boardwalk.
So currently, the lights on Main Street do not turn off. They're on all day and all night. So these lights will turn off, which is a huge money saver and more green. And obviously, they'll be newer in LED. It definitely is a safety thing. We want Main Street lit up. It's dark as far as we're concerned.
Way too dark.
The business owners, we've really worked with them. We have a Main Street committee, and so we meet with them, and lighting is a concern of theirs as well. We want to start refurbishing Main Street. Curb appeal is really important to this administration and this council, and we're very aware that lighting is part of that. Graffiti is part of that. We're working on a plan for that currently right now, and sidewalks and curbs.
I mentioned this before, that Mayor Selkirk gave us a presentation at one of our city caucus meetings and how they refurbished their Main Street. And he said the very first thing we did is light up Main Street like it's at 10 at night as it is at 10 a.m. And they've done a fantastic job there. Little different situation, but lighting is so important for safety and also for aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that. Speaking of Main Street, something that I've seen on social media today, which I believe would have been Casper posting it, the storefront improvement grant program that I saw here, which covers up to 15%, or not 50, 50% of storefront improvements up to $10,000. I know there's been discussion about something sort of like this happening on and off for a few years. What made this the time to bring this in, and what was the process of bringing it in?
This has gone in already through bylaw, through council, so that if you are a Main Street business, and not just Main Street, we talk about the big rectangle, right? It's Half Street, it's Church Street, and it's Main Street, and we're 3 long blocks both ways. So even if you're a business at the very end somewhere and you think you're not Main Street, you are still downtown. So we're talking about beautification, not just on Main Street, but in the downtown core area.
Actually, we're talking about all over Flin Flon with this new proposal. It's all businesses are, it's available to all businesses. So where
Yes.
Councillor Eagle is right, that we were just concentrating on that rectangle, but now we've opened it up to all businesses.
So if you're on Green Street, for example, and you think you've got about a $5,000 or $10,000 uplift to do on your business,
Yep.
you can fill out these documents, you can apply, and
Absolutely.
it can come to council through our CAO, Ms. Brown.
Yeah.
It all matters, and it all hooks into the look, the feel, and beautification, and it does make a difference. So for anyone, anywhere, in any city or even larger town that says, oh, it just doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
The attitude of the people in the community is sometimes reflective, you know, of the surroundings. And so if we let things go,
Yeah.
look seedy, then people are going to treat it as though it is that. And we're very proud of our community. We're proud of our community in its business sense. We're also proud in any time we have people coming around, we brag about our community. So we got to do whatever it takes to make that community an attractive community. We know it's a good business community. We know it's a good, safe place to live. But we want to make it look nice to everybody else. Keep that attitude positive.
And the really exciting thing is we have had an application and we approved that application. So what I'm hoping is that once it gets further into spring and it's a little warmer out, that business will be able to start work and you might be able to have a conversation with them to see how that works for them.
And we'd love you to shout it out from the rooftops. That's available.
Well, I would, but I think putting it in printed paper might have further reach. I got a lot of books here.
That's what I mean.
So I know that, well, like I said, this is an idea that's been around for a while. I remember being at Chamber of Commerce meetings in 2017 when this was suggested, because there
Oh,
were
was it?
communities. Yeah.
Oh.
At the very least, maybe not necessarily like we need to do this right now, but as
Yeah.
an idea, I believe Maple Creek, Saskatchewan was the place that kept getting mentioned because they had a
okay.
similar program like that then. What made this the right time to bring this plan in?
Well, last year is when we first started it. We decided to take 60,000 from our economic development fund because we really want to focus on Main Street. Not just on Main Street, but we recognize the community. And when you enter our community, we want people to invest on Main Street. People aren't going to invest on Main Street if we're not going to invest on Main Street. So it's an incentive program, and we felt like it could be a good way to say, hey, we believe in this community, and kind of get the ball rolling. And in the economic times, it's not as easy to renovate, revamp, paint, do all of the things. So if you have $2,000 and us as a municipality can incentivize that for you and match that, you will have $4,000 to paint your building, which then will make Main Street look better, and maybe somebody will rent or buy that building next to that instead of looking at a building that, you know, needs a lot of work or is all graffitied up. We are working on a solid plan for graffiti. There are some communities that have a really great plan in place. We just don't have it finalized yet. We are in the process of granting and kind of coming up with the process and what that's going to look like. So it's really important that we hear the community when that is something that they're really concerned about, and the business owners are really concerned about that as well.
Decay begets decay, brings on more decay, revitalization brings on more revitalization. So like Lynn said, we've got an application and hopefully that's
So exciting.
It is exciting, and you know, for anyone that thinks that Flin Flon is shrinking, we are not. In fact, there are younger people and younger couples moving here, moving back here, and moving here for the first time. And in fact, I met a couple today, and that's my third couple I've met in the past 5 weeks.
Nice.
And so they're excited to be here. The one thing that I hear from the very newcomers who haven't been here before is how easily it is to be here and integrate and feel wanted and feel welcomed and have people say hello to them even if they don't know them. And I think that's really important. So when you put it all together, the big picture all comes together. And as I've said before at these meetings, and I can speak for myself as well as I think the rest of this council, we didn't run in 2022 to be elected to turn off the lights.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I've met a few couples now, and I always ask them, why did you move to Flin Flon? And the guy said, well, I work out of my house. So he said, I looked around and found I could find real estate here cheaper than anywhere else. And he bought a pretty nice home for probably a quarter of what he would have paid in Toronto where he came from.
Oh, yeah.
Or an eighth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like playing that game with friends of mine who live on Vancouver Island, to just like show them
Yeah.
what their house would cost here.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a bad friend.
Yeah.
But
It's true though.
that I'm a bad friend, or that, I mean, either one might be true.
Probably both.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? Also wanted to ask about something else that came up in the interim between when I was last here, which is the Business Retention and Expansion Plan. Best FDC brought that out, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. Some interesting recommendations from that, some survey results in from area businesses, not just from Flin Flon, but from Denair and Creighton. Just wanting to know, from a council perspective, what this plan may lead to in terms of new ideas being brought forward, new measures, anything like that. Has it changed anybody's approach to the way that Flin Flon needs to do business?
I think, for one thing, one of the things that we learned from that was that we're looking at immigration. Okay, that's one of the things that was part of that, and so we're working with the Saskatchewan government, our local governments and provincial governments in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, to go that way. But the recommendations that are in there are taken seriously by the three communities, and so whenever we're having discussions about potential businesses, and all those, a lot of those discussions are not public discussions until they actually become something. But we always keep all of these plans in mind, and we've been taking a look at, for example, we have some businesses who said, no, we're fine. We're running on an even keel. We don't expect to get bigger. We don't expect to get smaller, and we're not looking for workers. Okay, so that's fine. We're seeing you as happy and successful, but there's nothing much we can do for you. But what there are other people who are saying to us, we can't get workers, then we're going to try and see what can we do to help bring workers in or to keep it as affordable as we can. And the other side of that was that we're lobbying the provincial governments on both sides so that immigrants would be able to live on one side and work on the other, whichever side that was. Because we're a community, we're trying to point that whole thing out. So the whole report, there's a lot of parts in that report, and there's a lot of businesses that were canvassed. It was a lot of work for the people involved. But it's given us a lot of an insight as to who's here, and yes, it affects your mindset as to how you're going to try and run your business, because you know what it is people are doing and what they're hoping to get from us. So that's not specific, but
That's fair. Anybody else want to weigh in with anything they found from the plan or the report?
The only thing that I want to add is that at the FDC, we did talk about having an opportunity with Chamber, perhaps, in the very near future, to actually talk about the report and what some of the results in it could mean for the communities at large.
Okay. Because I mean, if you're wanting to get in touch with the business community in Flin Flon, a good chunk of them are there, right? Like, they're not showing up at the council meetings, but they are showing up, or at least members of the chamber. That's fair. Speaking on immigration, because Mayor Fontaine brought that up, I know that the city in the last few months has been getting involved with potentially forming a regional immigration group or board or something like that with a few representatives from neighboring communities. If I remember correctly, the representative for the city on that board was Emily Roberts-Young, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe she's left for another position. Has that spot on the immigration board, or whatever it may be, has that been filled?
the immigration spot or Emily's spot?
The immigration spot.
That Emily sits on.
Yes.
I,
No, it hasn't been transitioned yet, to my knowledge. Ms. Brown?
You're right. It hasn't been.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't believe there's, unless there's an interim EDO, I don't believe that spot that Emily had here originally with the city or with the 3 communities is filled either, right?
No, but we are advertising now.
Okay, fair enough. That's what I figured, but it's like, okay, if it got brought up, I might as well ask, right? Also wanted to check in from the city perspective. Obviously, a couple months ago, there was that big discussion with Clean Community Corp and the idea of them building residential projects or residential buildings in Flin Flon. I reached out to them to see if there's been any sort of new information. Haven't exactly been 100% forthcoming about anything yet, but I wonder from a city perspective, has there been any update with your dealings with the group?
We've had no update from them yet.
Okay. Well, I'll cross that off then.
One thing that we can update you on though, that you ask about all the time is Camp Whitney,
Ah, yes, okay, hit me.
which is super exciting. So we have got to the point where we've built a winter road.
Okay.
They've already started removing the debris and trees, and so by the end of this week, that should be done.
Okay, so what exactly is going on up there? Is it building a new cook shack, or what are we looking at?
Well, they have to remove everything
Oh,
first.
okay.
Yeah, so that's at the stage they're at now, is just removing all of the buildings and the trees that were burnt, any kind of hazard, and yeah. So Big Ice built the road for us, and now contractors are out there removing all the material.
The process is,
Okay.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
So I would assume then by that token, that the months-long discussions with the insurer and everything like that have been sorted?
Yeah.
I can almost feel the relief when, just from you nodding there, it's like, yes.
What did they approve?
Well, that would be probably the director's
What-
conversation or Lynn's conversation as the money.
They have not come to us and said, we approve this much money. What they're doing is they're approving.
Give us some
things-
prices.
Like
Yes.
Yeah.
stages.
Exactly right.
Give us some prices. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we are still in the process in terms of the final result of telling them, you know, we had 75 silver spoons.
Yeah.
Right? So we're still making sure that we have everything in our mind
Yeah.
and on that list that can be inventoried that was in that count.
Yeah.
Including, you know, things like there was a bobcat out there.
A quad.
Yes.
There's a quad.
Yeah.
There's,
So what we've done, or where we're at, is we're on the way.
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
75 silver spoons.
yes.
We probably should have kept that. No, so,
I'm just kidding.
Well, they've been there since 36, so
Yeah.
we're probably silver.
And that's the whole thing, when you lose everything like that, your schedule of lost documents rain.
Yeah.
So those have got to be filled out to the full, make sure, be sure, because
Terry knows where all the
that's
cows are.
important. So it's a step-by-step process.
Somebody-
Yeah.
I've got the
Yeah,
book.
sure.
And I think probably the relative inaccessibility of Camp Whitney probably didn't make things quicker for the insurance process. I mean, it's not like it's impossible to get to, like, most of us have been out there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, you go to Baker's, you launch your boat, you go down the lake. It's not possible to do, but it is a little bit of a pain sometimes if you have to, like, make that trip a lot, but, so is it too early to then ask, like, what's going to come next for Camp Whitney? Is that still being figured out, like, what it's going to look like once everything is taken out of there and all the debris is cleaned up?
I do think that is a little too early.
Yeah, we gotta wait for some snow to melt here before we actually,
And two, like Lynn said, what does it look like from insurance?
Yeah.
Especially with the cost of building. And building out there is not going to be the easiest process either, so I can only imagine.
Yeah, you're not just gonna drive up
No.
in a whole
Yeah.
lot of big settings
Yeah.
and unload
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
but those are all really valid questions because we might be looking at, you know, having to barge materials over. Or maybe we'll be able to take some
know
materials
what?
before the ice road goes. So there's all different variables.
well, I've got to get down there to take that old generator shack off the cement.
I can hear you.
That was one.
a lot of stuff was taken out there by train.
Yeah, oh, train, yeah, I never
Yeah,
thought
because
about
it
that.
does go
Little bobcat,
right by there.
Could
and
build a
everything.
staging area.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Might be a bit of a trick to get the train to
Yeah.
stop there, but
yeah.
No, you used to stop there and let the cubs off every year.
it did, but how long ago was that?
Well,
1967.
to your point, when we brought a skid steer out there, which is like the Bobcat, we had spoken with the railway people, and they got a flat car, and they actually pulled it out for us and made a special trip, and we got it off there. So the same thing had happened when we needed some more gravel, because we didn't have it. We poured a base for the generator shed that is now between Camp Whitney and the trailway tracks, and that was 5-gallon buckets of gravel. We had gotten lots of those. That went by rail as well. So I think that if we have the proper conversations with the proper people and worked it out, I suspect we'll be able to do the same kind of thing. I can't promise that, but I mean, it's happened before.
And just to reiterate, from the city perspective, the plan is to rebuild what was lost?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure y'all said it. Didn't want to put any words in anybody's mouth here. On housing, I noticed too that in the agenda for the last meeting was I believe the second reading to the changes to the city bylaw and development plan that would relate to the UCN housing project over here. I thought we might see the third reading of those tonight, but that was not in the agenda. Has there been any sort of like hang up, or is that going to be in there soon?
No, there's no hang-up, it's just a process. So we're waiting for approval from Brett Mack, who is the regional developer out of Thompson,
Okay.
and represents the province. So
Okay.
once he gives me the go-ahead, it'll be up to 30 days.
Okay, fair enough. I know that was something that, council issued a statement of, or a letter of support for the project, of course, so I didn't know if it was going to go right through or if there was going to be some sort of hang-up in there. So,
No, it's just procedure right now.
yeah, that's fair. Also, speaking of things that I ask about somewhat regularly, I might as well ask from a city perspective, has there been any sort of update on the Flin Flon Hotel project?
No.
I think no is probably the best answer for now, until we have something, Yeah, no.
Okay.
The roof hatch is open on that, by the way.
On the Flin Flon Hotel? Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, intentionally. I don't know. I think that is about it from me. I have one other thing, but I can't figure out the way to word it. So instead, I'll think of that overnight, and I will annoy Lynn with an email about it in the morning. But aside from that, I think we're good.
Nobody else in the audience? No? Okay.
Big roar from the crowd.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.